Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive with us. Today we are ditching the screens and going green.
That's interesting.
Yeah, we're diving into forest bathing.
Ah, Shinrin-Yoku.
Yes, exactly right. Shinrin-Yoku or forest bathing.
Yeah, and just to clear things up,
Yeah, good idea.
we won't be taking a dip in any forest lakes.
No swimming today.
Though that does sound nice.
Maybe another time.
Yeah.
But today it's all about immersing ourselves in the forest.
Right. Using all our senses to really connect with nature.
And I gotta say, I was blown away when I started looking into this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, did you know this practice actually started as a public health initiative?
Back in the 80s, Japan was dealing with some serious stress issues.
Wow. So they were way ahead of the curve.
For sure, they recognized that connection with nature could be a powerful antidote.
Makes you wonder if they knew just how stressed we'd be today.
Right. With all the tech and the always-on culture.
It's like they had a crystal ball or something. But okay, let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
Okay.
What does science actually say about the benefits of forest bathing?
Well, one of the biggest things is the impact on cortisol.
Cortisol.
Yeah, the stress hormone.
So being in nature lowers that.
Exactly. Studies show that spending time in forests especially can significantly lower cortisol levels.
So less stress hormone running around, but what does that actually do for us?
Okay, so imagine hitting the pause button on your stress response. Blood pressure goes down and your heart rate variability improves.
Heart rate variability.
It's like a measure of your heart's flexibility.
Oh, okay.
So higher variability means your body can adapt to stress better.
So basically forest bathing is like strength training for our stress response.
Exactly.
I'm loving this already, but I also read about something called phytoncides.
Ah, yes, they sound a bit sci-fi.
They do, right? What are they exactly?
They're basically chemicals that trees release into the air.
Like aromatherapy from the trees.
You could say that and get this, they can boost our immune systems.
Wow, seriously?
Yeah, research suggests that they can increase the activity of natural killer cells, or NK cells.
NK cells.
They're a type of white blood cell that fight off harmful cells like infections and even some cancers.
So it's like the trees are sending out these little warriors to help us out.
Pretty amazing, right?
It is. But what about the mental health benefits we talked about earlier?
Right. Well, there's growing evidence that Shinrin-Yoku can really help with things like anxiety and depression.
Oh, wow.
And there are even studies showing it can improve focus in children with ADHD.
It's like nature has the answers all along.
It really seems that way.
And it's not just about the physical stuff, right? There's a deeper side to forest bathing, too.
Absolutely. It's about mindfulness and being present in the moment.
So it's more than just a walk in the park.
Exactly. You're intentionally engaging with the forest and stripping away all the distractions.
That makes sense. In our world, we're constantly bombarded with information.
Exactly. And the forest offers a sanctuary from all that noise.
I can see how that would be incredibly grounding. But it makes me think about something else.
What's that?
Climate change. Everyone's talking about it, and it's causing a lot of anxiety.
Right.
Do you think Shinrin-Yoku could help with that?
That's a really interesting question. I think it can.
How so?
When you immerse yourself in nature, you experience its beauty and power firsthand.
And that can be awe-inspiring, for sure.
Exactly. And from that awe can come a desire to protect what we cherish.
So it's about rekindling our connection with nature.
And recognizing that our well-being is tied to the health of the planet.
It's not just about personal peace. It's about becoming stewards of the environment.
Exactly.
That's a powerful message. It's like the forest is a mirror.
A mirror.
Yeah. Reflecting back to us the cycles of life.
I like the way forests shed leaves and go dormant in winter.
Right, and then they burst back to life in the spring.
It's a constant reminder that change is inevitable, and there's beauty in every stage.
Do you think we can learn from that?
Absolutely. Just like trees, we go through cycles of growth and change.
And by observing nature, we can gain a deeper understanding of our own journeys.
Exactly. It's about embracing the ebb and flow of life.
I love that. But speaking of journeys, you mentioned how the forest can reawaken our senses.
Ah, yes. In the modern world, our senses are constantly bombarded.
Right. We're glued to our screens and bombarded with notifications.
Exactly. Our senses become dulled, almost numb.
Guilty as charged.
But when we enter the forest, it's like stepping into a sensory playground.
Okay, I like where this is going.
Suddenly you're surrounded by a symphony of sounds, rustling leaves, chirping birds, the wind through the branches.
It's like a whole new world opens up.
And then there are the smells, damp earth, pine needles, wildflowers.
And don't forget about touch.
Of course, feel the bark of a tree, the texture of a leaf, the coolness of a rock.
It's like our senses come alive again.
Exactly. And Shinrin-Yoku encourages us to slow down and savor those sensations.
I'm telling you, this is making me want to find a forest right now.
Uh-huh. I feel the same way.
But before we both run off into the woods, let's talk about one more thing.
Okay, what's that?
The idea of feeling connected while being alone in nature.
Ah, yes, it's a paradox, isn't it?
It is, but I've always found it so intriguing. How can you feel connected when you're by yourself?
I think the forest helps us break down the illusion of separation.
What do you mean by that?
We're not separate from nature, we're a part of it.
So being alone in the forest actually allows us to connect more deeply with ourselves.
And with the web of life that surrounds us.
And paradoxically with others too.
Exactly. When we feel that sense of belonging, it naturally extends outwards.
It's like we're all connected to our shared appreciation for nature.
Beautifully put.
Well, this has been incredibly insightful,
I've enjoyed it too.
but I'm eager to delve even deeper into this world of Shinrin-Yoku.
Me too. It's amazing how just talking about nature can make you feel more relaxed, right?
I know, I'm already feeling more grounded.
It's like our minds are primed for it.
You know, one thing that really struck me is how simple this all is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like no fancy equipment, no complicated techniques, just you and the trees.
It's a nice change of pace from all the wellness trends out there.
Right, it's like nature already has the answers.
It really does.
But it makes me think about something else.
What's that?
Solitude versus connection.
Okay.
I'm someone who really values alone time. It's how I recharge.
I get that.
But connection is important too. Can forest bathing offer both?
That's a really interesting question, and it gets to the heart of what Shinrin-Yoku is all about.
Okay. I'm listening.
So you go into the forest and you strip away all the distractions, right?
Right, the noise, the technology, all of it.
And that creates space for introspection.
You start to tune into your own thoughts and feelings.
Exactly. You become more aware of your inner landscape.
So you're taking care of yourself first.
Like that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Right, when you're grounded, you can connect with others more genuinely.
Right. Exactly. But there's another layer too, even when you're alone in the forest.
What do you mean?
You're part of something bigger, a community of people who appreciate nature.
It's a shared understanding, even if you're not physically together.
Exactly. A sense of kinship that goes beyond words.
I like that. But it brings up another question for me.
Okay, shoot.
We've talked about the mental and emotional benefits of forest bathing.
Right. Reducing stress, improving mood, that sort of thing.
But are there other less obvious benefits, things we're just starting to understand?
You're thinking like a scientist. There are always more discoveries to be made.
So what's on the horizon?
Well, there's some interesting research on forest bathing and the microbiome.
The microbiome. Remind me what that is again.
It's the trillions of bacteria that live in and on our bodies.
Right. The good bacteria that keep us healthy.
Exactly. And studies are showing that spending time in nature can actually improve our microbiome.
Wait, really? How does that work?
So the soil, air, and plants are full of diverse microbes. And when we're exposed to them, we introduce those beneficial bacteria into our systems.
It's like giving our gut a dose of good bacteria.
You got it. And that diversity is key for a healthy microbiome.
So hanging out in the forest can actually make our gut healthier.
It's pretty amazing.
It really is. It just shows how connected we are to the natural world.
It all comes full circle.
I love that idea of everything being interconnected.
And I think that's one of the most important takeaways from Shinrin-Yoku.
It reminds us that we're not separate from nature, but a part of it.
We're all part of this web of life.
That's a beautiful thought. Before we wrap things up, I'd love to recap some key takeaways for our listeners.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
First things first, you don't need a vast wilderness to practice Shinrin-Yoku.
Right. Even a small park or a tree-lined street can work.
It's about finding those pockets of nature in our everyday lives.
And making a conscious effort to connect with them.
Once you've found your spot, the key is to be present.
Put away your phone, silence your thoughts, and just be.
Let yourself be fully immersed in the sensory experience.
Listen to the sounds, smell the scents, feel the textures.
Awaken those senses that we often ignore.
And remember, there's no right or wrong way to do this.
It's a personal journey of discovery.
Allow yourself to wander, be curious, and most importantly, be patient.
It takes time to quiet the mind and connect with nature.
But the rewards are worth it.
So to our listeners, I encourage you to step away from the screens.
Go outside, find a tree, and experience the magic of Shinrin-Yoku for yourselves.
Until next time, happy forest bathing, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Deep Thoughts Podcast. I hope you found insights and inspiration to take with you on your journey of self-growth. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And don't forget to follow us on social media to stay updated on new releases and exclusive content. See you next time, where we'll continue to help you grow and explore your full potential.